Hello to the side and back, my name is Tokika Uzuru, also known as Toki, and in today's video I will be talking about how stress can actually affect your weight. Similar to other videos where I feel like it's going to end up being one of those touchy topics, I will have to do a disclaimer. In this video I will be talking about weight fluctuation, which is either gaining or losing weight, and I will also be talking about poor eating habits, such as binge eating or highly restrictive eating. If you do not feel comfortable with those topics, either proceed with caution or click off the video now. Now, the second part to this disclaimer is actually, I am not a professional physician, nutritionist, or personal trainer. These are just things that I ended up having to learn through my experiences with said topic. So I'm not a professional in any way, shape, or form. Take all of my words with a grain of salt. I am not here to say that any specific diet is good or bad. I am here to say that certain ones that I bring up in this video did not work for me. Now we can move on. So for those who know, you know, but for those who don't, there are numerous factors that actually affect whether you can lose or gain weight. I will be talking about the rest of those factors later on. But the two that I want to highlight in this video is your mental and emotional health. But I kind of felt like I had to start the video off saying that, because when I bring up having problems with me specifically losing weight, I end up getting several different people saying, oh, just eat less or eat healthier, when they don't understand that there's more underlying problems than just my personal diet. There's emotionally eating, there's stress eating, which could also be classified as emotionally eating. There's whatever anxiety you have and whether that affects how much you eat or don't eat. And then there's the lack of knowledge, because this public school system in the US only gives you basic knowledge. And then there's the willpower, because again, without your emotional and mental stability, you have a lower amount of willpower. And then we get into more physical things that can affect it, such as finances, because apparently healthy eating, if you're not planning it properly, can be expensive. Then there's also poor time management, which would go into being able to prep or plan or even do research. And I didn't even get into the societal standards of being a certain size or the toxicity that is diet culture. Then there's whatever your genetics is, what type of medications you have to take, because that can affect your weight, or any other type of health conditions that also can affect your weight. The basic line here is that there are so many factors that just saying eat less or eat healthier is completely ignoring those factors. Yet still, down the rabbit hole I went, trying to lose weight and be healthier overall. So now it's about the time for me to get off on a completely different tangent and speak about at least two different stories of me trying out two separate diets. And as I said earlier in this video, it's not that these diets don't work. So what works for one person might not work for me, and what does work for me might not work for another person. We should understand how this works, but I just want to make sure we're making it clear. So the first personal story I will be talking about is actually when I tried doing keto, which generally speaking, moderate to high protein, high fats, low to no carb. And the general idea behind it is to turn your body into a fat burning machine by allowing your body to go into a state of ketosis, which just gets your body into a specific state where it's burning fat for energy and not burning carbs, hence lowering the amount of carbs that you intake. However, I couldn't stick to that specific diet, and when I try things out, I'm looking for ways of how I can keep it sustained for a longer period of time. I'm more looking for a stable thing than just try out a diet for 30 days to go ahead and lose weight and then go back to eating the way that you have been. So when I classify me trying keto out as a failure, it's mainly because I wasn't able to keep on the diet. And these are just some of the reasons that I wrote down as to why it wasn't sustainable for me. The first thing I wanted to point out when it comes to the failure is that I'm a vegetarian, and I did not find enough information on being vegetarian in keto. So I don't recommend it at all. Number two, I love carbs, but I specifically love bread. They don't specify the type of carbs that you need to lower when you're on keto. I love bread specifically, but carbs in general, because like last week, I believe, I ended up eating an entire melon. Third one, this was a thing before I decided to do the keto diet, and honestly, I should have known better. I wrote it down as a poor relationship, but I already had a screwed relationship with food to the point where I became an emotional eater. I mean, there's also the fact that most, if not all of my family members just have this like secret love language of feeding you until you're like stuffed. And the last one is I don't really have as much control over the food that gets brought in the house. I am not the one that's usually buying the food. And once I did like a mental check-in with myself and realized, yeah, I was not okay, I stopped it entirely. And then I went back to what I would classify as the basics. When it comes to losing weight, the basic idea is burning off more calories than you consume, therefore being in a calorie deficit. And I believe it was every 3,500 calories that you burn would equal to a pound loss. Again, this is what I thought was just basic knowledge, stuff that they taught me in health class. However, even that was able to mess up my brain a lot, and I wasn't able to keep it up and sustain said caloric deficit. So I would also classify the caloric restriction as a fail as well. 2, as if my relationship with food wasn't already messed up as it is, it worsened it. 3, my results or lack of results started messing with my emotional being, and it started controlling how I felt, not only about myself, but just for the entire day. And last but not least, it created one of the worst eating habits I have ever had. And the eating habit that formed was after a long time of probably heavy restrictions. I would just throw caution to the wind and forget that I was supposed to be restricting my calories. But these are just two basic examples of I changed how much I was eating and I changed what I was eating. And it messed me up more than it actually helped. Now, I could have actually gone to a professional, like physician or nutritionist. Should I have seek consultation with a personal trainer? These are all probably, but accessibility is the issue. So just for your own mental and emotional health or stability, always double check to see if there are any type of underlying issues or problems with your relationships with food or self-image issues before you decide to go on, I would say specifically a weight loss journey, but like overall health journey. But also start to get yourself more familiar with the signs that there is a problem with your eating habits. Because if it wasn't for the fact that I knew some of the signs and I mentally checked in with myself, once I started to notice the pattern, I would probably have been way worse. The entirety of this video is basically work on your inner peace before you work on your exterior. And that's pretty much with not just like losing or gaining weight, but any type of exterior modification. But now that we are closing out the video, it is time for me to do the stereotypical YouTuber outro, where I, as a stereotypical YouTuber, would ask you to do the following. Even though this video was a very serious video, I do hope that it was educational and if not entertaining, to know the amount of mess ups I did to get to the point where I am, which I will probably make a part 2 on things that I've learned when I went through those two, trying out those 2 dietary restrictions. But if you did like this video, you can hit the like button. If you want to see more videos where I talk about everything that is in my lifestyle affecting my spirituality, and again, my spiritual occultist magic stuff and how that affects my lifestyle, you can hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to be notified of when I post. I almost forgot how to say notifications, and I'm not sure if that is just my brain being absolutely fried or my brain being way ahead of my physical form. Any type of questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for future videos can be put into the comment section down below. And with all of that being said, my name is Toki Uzuru, also known as Toki, and this is Toki saying Toki out.